All right.
All right.
We are here once again
Yep.
through the power of modern technology
Eating
with
pizza.
some pizza. Got some pizza today.
We're the
Uh,
unofficial sponsors
of
of Domino's Pizza.
Domino's is the unofficial
No,
sponsor.
we're the unofficial sponsors of them because we gave them money.
That's true.
And now we're freely advertising them on our
Mhm.
podcast. So we are the unofficial sponsors.
That is what happened. That's right.
Um,
So we have some things
some
to talk about today.
I think there's always things to talk about.
We're going to
Sorry
start
if
with the
we got to apologize for the mukbang right away, but we just wanted pizza.
and what are you going to do?
And what are you gonna do? I
When
mean,
you want pizza, you get pizza.
I'm sorry, we're gonna talk with our mouth full today.
That's right.
Breaking
So we got
law
some
rules.
stuff to to react to. All right. So you didn't see the Saturday Night Live make fun of the Daily Wire?
The only time I ever catch anything to do with
Yeah.
Saturday Night Live now is if I get a clip. That show
Yeah.
is awful. It's gotten more and more awful over the years, and
Mhm.
it's pretty pathetic. I mean, I'll give them kudos. They put what's his face back on? Dave Chappelle.
Mhm.
He hosted for a
You see,
second
like
time.
all the writers like boycotted the episode or something. They're like, "Oh, great, we'll have a funny episode."
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
The show hasn't been funny for years.
yeah.
At
So
least he was actually kind of funny in
they
some stuff I watched.
they don't have that clip on YouTube as far as I can tell. I didn't scour the internet for it, so we're gonna try to steal it here from Mr. Ben Shapiro's reaction of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a quick clip. So
Yeah.
yeah, we'll just watch it and we'll see. This will be your first time seeing it. I've seen it. I think it's funny, but
Mm-hmm.
The conservative media organization The Daily Wire said they'll spend $100 million to create children's programming to counter woke media companies. Programs will include Clifford the Big Straight Dog, Encanto, but in English, and One Fish, Two Fish, that's how many fish genders there are.
Okay, so to be frank, honestly,
That was funny. The last
yeah,
one was especially
it was hilarious.
one fish, two fish. That's how many genders there are.
Yeah. So that might be the first good joke that SNL has made.
I have to
What, all
say,
year?
okay, no, I should rescind my earlier comment. SNL is funny in that skit only, the news skit, the whatever they call that news skit. Him and Michael Che are funny, and then they do a skit between them where they write racist jokes for each other,
Okay.
and they have to say it. It's pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
Like
That is
Michael
funny.
Che is ruthless with these jokes. Like what he makes Colin
That's
Jost.
good.
Colin Jost.
Hopefully we get more of that
Yeah.
with Elon's Twitter. But
Yeah. So.
what's funny about that is it's like they it almost seems like an endorsement.
A little bit.
You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I mean, I hope that they're just comedians trying to be funny.
Yeah.
And there's no like politics, like it's an attempt at an attack. But no, given the current political sphere, it could very well be an attempt at an attack.
You know what I think it is, honestly? I think Saturday Night Live realizes that they went way too left for too long, and everything that's really woke isn't funny in general, just because it's like everybody's offended by everything, right?
Well-
So how can you be funny? So I think they're trying to swing it
Yeah.
back over and make fun of everything, make fun of the left, make fun of the right, make fun of everything, and maybe try and stay a little more in the center, which
Yeah.
would be smart if they're going to go political at all. Just try and stay in the center, make fun of everybody, and then
What
it all
South Park
becomes.
does.
What's that?
South Park.
Oh yeah, South Park is indiscriminate on what they make fun of. It's they make fun of everybody.
And they're
sometimes
really good at it.
Yeah, and sometimes people don't even deserve it. I don't think. Like Matt Damon, what did he ever do?
Well,
Matt Damon.
yeah,
Like what did he ever do?
yeah.
It was like I don't know, but anyways, yeah. So no, I think it's funny. So that's it though. That was the thing. No, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
That's not much. I thought it was gonna be a little more.
It's based on something more too, because like the Daily Wire is investing like $100 million into like this counterculture stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
which I'm cool with. This fine, but I don't know. I'm kind of like in the center of that. Like, I guess you have to if you feel like the other side is
Yeah.
completely one way. But
There's only one. There's only one narrative being peddled.
Yeah,
That's gonna win out. So you gotta push.
I
The
don't
other
know.
side.
I just think personally, if you aim for the center a little bit more, you just kind of you win over more people. You're further you're doing what you accuse others of doing, where you say that they're polarizing people by being that way, but then you're doing it on the other side. So like you're creating tribes. You're creating these two tribes.
Except they're
specific.
not though. They're
I'm not
very
saying
much
that,
in
but
the center, right? Right. If they did,
who's in the center?
the Daily Wire.
No, they're conservative leaning.
Okay, so you're saying, right, that the conservative leaning, so you take, I don't know, you take the Daily Wire as a general, the average stuff that they put out, that's equal to like the communists?
No, I don't. I don't think that.
Right, so they're already much closer
I
to the
know. Well,
center.
I'm not saying that
They're
they're not
basically
closer
in
to the
the
center.
center
No, I
because these
agree.
people are way
No,
the fuck out
they're
to
not.
lunch
They're
over
not
there.
basically in the center. They're right of center. They preach conservative values, right? Obviously, Ben Shapiro is very strong on anti-abortion, which is a conservative value. He's religious. There's all kinds of things that he preaches on the conservative side, which I'm fine with. I agree with you because I think it's not very, very right. What I'm saying to counter left, it's not
Yeah.
like, in my opinion, it's not like you should have to go, let's go right then. And then you have two sides. Like, what side do you pick?
But they're not saying
just choose
let's
the
go
middle.
right. They're saying we're gonna push what we think.
Yeah.
Which is not saying let's go right.
I wish none of them would push any of it, any particular agenda. I wish they would all kind of just say centrist. And if you're in
No,
entertainment,
you need a culture.
but I think if you're in entertainment, I think you should just try to entertain. You shouldn't necessarily go, I'm going to stay
That's why
on one
like
side. Or the other.
Marvel is failing right now
Right.
because they've
Exactly.
veered away from the.
You're supposed to
making good
just
movies.
blow things up and stuff. It's like superheroes and stuff. You're not supposed to be woke in any way. It's
soon
all
you-
fantasy.
As soon as you put any kind of like pushy political message into a movie,
Yeah.
you're gonna lose out.
Well, it's just people feel like it's being jammed down their throats, and nobody wants to feel like that. Like if you like something, you don't need it jammed down your throat.
Yeah.
Anyways, but yeah, I know I get it, but it has that feeling of like, oh, we're going to counter this by doing the opposite on the other side. We're going to go conservative because we feel like media is too liberal.
Yeah, well, you need the conservative media, though, right? Like, you need the people to go out there and say, "Hey, maybe Kyle Rittenhouse was acting in self-defense," right? And I mean, and when you're talking about that stuff specifically, you're talking about we need people to actually report the news.
But
because it's no longer.
But that statement, I
narrative.
don't think is conservative. That statement is more on the common sense sort of thing, as opposed to the conservative. The conservative sort of angle, in my opinion, would be saying, "Oh, he absolutely should have the right, no matter what, to carry a gun, and he can do whatever he wants with his gun." Like, it's like a stronger point for.
Okay, but you just made up an argument that nobody was making.
I'm not saying I'm not making that argument up. I'm saying that seems more like what the conservative end. What you're saying
Except
just sounds.
they weren't making that argument.
I'm
though,
not
right?
saying they were. I'm saying what you're saying sounds very centrist, which I agree with because it's common sense to say that he clearly defended himself. If anybody watching the video, if you don't put any fucking you don't put any backstory to it. You don't put any sounds, anything like that. You just see this kid running, and people are trying to attack him at various points, and especially when the guy knocks him down and he shoots him. If you don't have any context to that, you look at it and go, "That's a guy defending himself." So why add context to you? Oh, well, he was there and he was defending property, and maybe he shouldn't have been there with a gun. You're just adding all this context. Just purely on its face is him defending himself. So that's all that should be. You can put all the politicism in it all you want. You can try and shift the narrative, but the news should never do that. The news should just show you it and go, you decide.
Yeah, there shouldn't be. I don't know. Maybe there should be like a news and then an after news, like the after news show where they get like a panel and they discuss things.
And if that were the case, then
And
you
it's
could
like
have
the
your left
panel-
side and your right side. And
Yeah, but you know that's gonna just get like diluted and perverted as is. But like you could have the left media and the right media as they currently do.
But what I would want is no matter what, you'd have one, like say All News Network or something, the ANN, and you go to there and you go, all you're getting is just basic news. You're not getting any spin, anything. They're just giving you the story. This is what happened. This is the facts of what we know, and it's all verifiable.
It should be like sports.
Bullshit. Yeah, exactly.
You have the game, you watch the game,
Yeah.
and then after the game, you get the talk shows where everyone comes in.
I
and
agree. That's a really good analogy. I think that's a really good analogy because then you can have anybody can have their opinion and they can spin whatever they want.
Discuss it.
Yeah, they discuss it and but yeah. No, really, that's an excellent point. I think that's perfect. That makes my point perfectly. So I definitely agree with it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Oopsie daisy.
I wonder what would Ben Shapiro say about it?
Well, we can.
All right, let's see what he says.
We can watch because it's not that long.
Yeah. I typically like his response to stuff.
Let's see. It's only another 5 minutes.
I would 100% create a book called One Fish, Two Fish. That's how many fish genders there are. That we would do that here at Daily Wire, probably. As far as Clifford the Big Straight Dog, the only reason that we would produce Clifford the Big Straight Dog is because you guys insist on reading kindergartners. Heather has two mommies. Again, we don't want to produce any of those things. We would just like Clifford can remain the big red dog that he is, a non-sexual being, which is fine for small children, who again are non-sexual beings. But the left has to declare that we are the bad guys. We're the bad guys for suggesting that maybe kids should just read books that aren't about where people wish to rub their genitals. It is an amazing, amazing thing. And some people on the left are so mad about the fact that people on the right are responding to all of this that they are now calling on major corporations to do their work for them. It demonstrates again that when it comes to the left and their supposed populism, they're not populist at all. They don't care about the little guy. They're fine with using the top echelons of our institutional culture in order to cram down their perverse point of view on life. They are imperialists. They're cultural imperialists. They wish to have the top levels of American society, the biggest corporations, the most powerful government agencies, cram down what they want on you. I've said for a long time, conservatism has to be built ground up. It's those little platoons, right? What Edmund Burke called the little platoons, families with family values, which build into communities, which share those values, which build into local communities, which share those values, which eventually build into national communities, which don't share the same sort of values that families do, but share some baseline values with other people across the country. That is how you build a society. What the left does is they impose their viewpoint top down. They crush the little platoons. They crush local communities and states and families. That is their goal. They have to break all bonds. So if they have to use Disney to do that, they will. So all these people who say they hate corporations, they are perfectly happy to use those corporations to get involved in politics, so long as the corporations mirror their point of view. So you have Jamel Bouie, who hates corporations, right? Jamel Bouie is economically speaking, he's much closer to a socialist. He says, Disney could, somebody tweeted, Disney could destroy DeSantis and everybody down to precinct captain. Okay, first of all, try it. Like, seriously, anybody who thinks that Disney can break the Republican Party in the state of Florida, you just try it. Seriously.
No chance.
And Jamel Bouie says, I've been thinking about this as well. The mouse is powerful enough. It could want regime change in Florida. It could probably get it. No, it most certainly could not. It most certainly could not. But second of all, I'm just going to point out that all of these people have left suddenly calling for the intervention of woke companies in American politics. Same people like Koch brothers, evil. Elon Musk, super bad. What? But Disney, can you come save us? Please save us, Disney. Also worth pointing out here, weak-kneed Republicans need not apply for leadership in the Republican Party anymore. So the new favorite in the media is Larry Hogan, the Maryland governor, who of course is socially left because he's the governor of Maryland. You wouldn't expect anything different. So Larry Hogan is on national TV, and he's going to be the good Republican for the next 5 minutes. If he would actually win the nomination, he would become bad Republican because they can't allow a Republican to get elected president or anything. So Governor Larry Hogan will be brought out as the sort of good Republican foil, the way that it used to be like John Huntsman, or before that it was John McCain, until McCain won the nomination, at which point he became an evil, evil man. So there is this breed in the sort of beltway circles who thinks that avoiding the culture wars is the way you win. That's such nonsense. The culture wars are the way you win, not avoiding them, engaging in them. This is the amazing thing about the Trump phenomenon. There's so many people who tried to intellectualize Trump. Trump was just a giant screw you to people who wish to indoctrinate your children in critical race theory and gender studies. That was the basic idea of Trump. They're a bunch of elites. They wish to control your life. They hate you. They think you're an ignoramus. They think, according to Barack Obama, you're a bitter clinger who goes to church. That's it. And Donald Trump's like, I don't hate you guys. And people are like, sounds good to me. But here's Larry Hogan saying, it's really, I don't even understand why there is a Florida bill to prevent sexual indoctrination of children. Yeah, Larry Hogan, take a hike. No one wants to hear you.
DeSantis is always talking about, he was not demanding that businesses do things, but he was, telling the cruise lines what they had to do. He was telling local schools what they had, mandating, and now he wants to criticize Disney for expressing, how they feel about that that bill. I mean, they have every right to it. We have a thing called freedom of speech.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they can come out and say what they think. I think the bill was kind of absurd,
It's ironic seeing
and not something that would have happened in our state.
That's right. It wouldn't have happened in your state, which is why you're not a national candidate and you can go away. Hey, really. I've been sympathetic to Larry Hogan and some of the ways he's approached issues in Maryland. But if this is the battle inside the Republican Party between people who wish to protect children and people who think it's a nonsense issue and we need to focus on tax rates, take a hike. Seriously, take a hike. I care about tax rates too. I'm the most free market guy on the right, probably. That doesn't mean that when it comes down to the priority of woke Disney versus your kids, that I'm not going to take the side of your kids because I'm not a moron. If the Republican Party wants to avoid culture war issues, they're going to lose and they should lose. These are 70-30 issues. Honest to God, if Republicans are going to be this out of touch, they deserve to lose. I know what you're thinking. It's time to binge some more Ben
don't know
Shapiro
what I'm
videos.
thinking,
Well,
Ben.
No. Listen, Ben, that's enough.
Yeah,
That's enough of you.
that's enough.
Yeah. I got a little off of his reaction to the thing, but I agree with. I love Ben Shapiro. He's a voice of reason and common sense in a common senseless society.
Yeah, if only we could have more of that.
Lost our fucking minds. I don't know. I don't understand. We used to just have common sense. We used to just I shouldn't say that because maybe we didn't, but it seemed like we did. We seemed like society focused on.
There's something that gets lost with like the internet and the way people interact, where it's not face to face, and you're not doing things. The things that you do are not done with like actual human beings
Yeah,
present.
that's true.
So there's something lost.
Oh yeah,
there.
it's the same as like being a tough guy over the phone or being a tough guy over
Yeah.
text. Especially people aren't as tough over the phone, but holy fuck, you get somebody in behind a
Yeah.
text and they can just type whatever they want. Man, they are some tough people. Holy shit, man! You read that?
Well,
Wow.
you'd think.
And then you get them face to face and watch them just shrivel up to
Mhm.
the coward that they are, right? So it's the same online. Everybody's tough, right? Everybody can say what they want. There's no repercussion for saying what you like. There's no repercussion for bullshit censorship of people and stuff. So
Yeah.
speaking of censorship,
Yeah, speaking of censorship, we got some more positive news in the way of Twitter. These buttons aren't working properly. Um,
yeah, they're not working properly because you're mukbanging all. Look at the friggin' shit all over that keyboard or mouse area.
mouse area.
You dumbass.
Where is the?
Note to self: no mukbanging with. It's like a child's hands over there. You're just rubbing them on everything. Here, ugh, my hands are greasy.
How exactly do you
what's not working?
propose the record button?
Oh,
Yeah. Live stream's fine.
silly
And
thing.
Art had something to say here. The more mediums of expression that exist, the more that context is lost.
Yeah, it's true.
Mm-hmm.
Well put, sir. That was to our statement about there being more of a straight shooting voice of news.
Mm-hmm. So,
I'm out. Are you out?
getting close enough. You might as well grab
I'll
one.
go
But so Elon Musk posted a poll on Twitter. Should Twitter offer a general amnesty to suspended accounts, provided that they have not broken the law or engaged in egregious spam?
Obviously.
And the majority voted yes. So the people have spoken. Amnesty begins next week, as Elon said.
So you heard it first here. Alex Jones is back on Twitter.
Well, no, because he said
Why'd you ruin
that have not broken the law.
Why'd you ruin my? Oh man, I was gonna be the one that says it,
Mm-hmm.
and then people go, "Oh, he said it days before it actually happened."
Yeah. Alex Jones might happen
No, I
at
don't
some
think so.
point because people are pushing, but it seems Musk has a personal vendetta against him. But I mean, this is a move in the right direction. I think just most people are now pretty much everybody's unbanned. It's almost like a reset with few exceptions.
And Twitter's starting to actually, holy shit, man, they're getting some. They say the engagement's higher than it's been.
Oh, they got the highest,
Yeah.
the most users they've ever had.
Right.
So
maybe they can get rid of the bots too,
mhm.
or they're already getting rid of the bots, which is nice. Like I
People
said,
were saying that Twitter was like failing under Musk or something, but they're really doing better than ever.
yeah.
Um,
How can you be failing when you clear out like 70% of your employees? Well, right away you're just gonna save like any
you're
business.
saving on that.
Yeah, any
immediately.
business, it's like typically, depending on the business, but it's typically like 30% or something of all of your profit goes to paying employees, right? So like that's your
Yeah.
biggest expense.
It all depends on the business.
Yeah,
side of
exactly.
your
I'm
business
sure.
model and
Well, this business shouldn't have that high. They shouldn't have had. How many employees did they have? It was like
a lot.
5,000 or something
No,
stupid.
that's how many were fired right away.
Yeah. So
I
it's
think
more
that,
than that.
I think it's like maybe 10,000.
What the hell does Twitter have
Like,
10,000 employees?
Maybe
What-
more than that. How many people have been fired? Like, because Facebook laid off 11,000.
3,700.
Yeah, so 7,500 workers prior to Musk.
So 7,500 workers at Twitter.
Yeah.
Have you seen some people's posts? They posted this thing where it's like, I don't know, somebody's doing it obviously. They've compiled these videos of people posting their day at Twitter.
Mhm.
They're like, oh, I show up in the morning and then I gotta get myself a
Mhm.
cafe and then I go to the meditation room and I take some time there to regroup and then I catch up with some people.
They're literally going to adult daycare.
Yeah, exactly.
They're hardly doing any work.
Like what? Like
Twitter can function with
please show us what you've done in the day.
Yeah.
Please show us. It's the equivalent of people moving their mouse
drank
at
a
work at home.
mimosa.
It's the equivalent of people just moving their mouse every 15 minutes at home.
Yeah.
To pretend that they're fucking at their computer.
Basically.
Yeah.
Except they're in the office, but they want to be in the office because they don't have to be sitting at a desk.
And they got
can
wine.
They can go to their wine lounge,
Yeah.
get their coffee, eat their food. That's just there for them. They don't got to go and buy food.
Yeah.
Which probably makes a difference because these people are living in like New York City and San Francisco,
Mm-hmm.
where they're, even though they're making $250,000 a year, they're living paycheck to paycheck because their rent's fucking $25,000 a month.
Mm-hmm. So bye.
Yeah.
Bye, Twitter people. Good luck going to get a real job. I think it was the Babylon B. I saw this video where a Twitter employee goes to or a fired Twitter employee goes to somewhere to apply for a job.
I
And
saw
then-
like the headline for that. I think.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Yeah, the Babylon Bee is awesome. But they're back on Twitter.
She was like, and he's like, yeah. So he says work, and she's like, oh, that's a triggered word for me. He's
That's
like,
a trigger word.
He's like, okay, well, stuff we do here, whatever.
Yeah.
He's using something like that or whatever. She's like,
What was I forget what the exact wording of it, but there was an article that was like, recently hired former Twitter employee tries to find the meditation room in the Taco Bell. It's like, man,
That's
that
the
last
washroom.
order really triggered me, and if I don't get some meditation in soon, I don't even know. So,
yeah, well, hey, you had a kid for a while, people.
mhm.
Sorry. That's all come to an end now. So he's fired 50% of the employees, basically.
Basically half,
Yeah.
maybe more to come. Who knows? He's demanding a harsh work environment too. Like he's like, hey, we're gonna crunch time.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Make
get some
the
shit done.
company profitable.
Which he is probably going to do. I think they rolled out a new system today. Oops. Twitter.
Think
new-
about the opportunity for somebody working at Twitter, let's say, right? Higher up, not the highest up, obviously, right? Like I guess what the guy running it got a golden parachute of like $19 million or something like that. I think it was or something.
Gold and gray
But
checks.
anyways, so imagine you're high enough there where you're like, say, I don't know, whatever, like a division manager or something like that, where you're high enough to that you're gonna directly report to Elon or somebody just under him. How good of an opportunity would that be to actually have somebody like Elon running the company?
Yeah.
As opposed to before where you're like,
Jack.
yeah, like am I
Perot
really like, is this company really going to be anything for like, when does
It became
this
like an arm for the government.
yeah, like when does this end? If they're not making money,
Yeah.
long term. When does it finally run out?
Mm-hmm.
You know, investors eventually are going to go, like, what are we doing here? Like,
Mhm.
you know, it basically becomes a Ponzi scheme. Any business that doesn't make money, so let's say it's been in business for over 5 years and they're still not making money,
Mm-hmm.
but they have a positive, like their stocks going up and stuff. That doesn't make a lot of sense, and that can't sustain itself. So you'd think that you'd be like, all right, well, you know what? Now we got a guy coming in that has actually,
Made
built some
several
companies,
companies.
right? From PayPal to
SpaceX, Tesla,
SpaceX and Tesla, right?
and
There
I think
was
the
another
Boring
one.
Company
The
works.
Boring, yeah,
Like is profitable. Neuralink might just be like a pet project because I don't know if they're selling anything
Yeah,
yet
they're
because they're
not-
just
I don't
trying to
think so.
build a thing. But SpaceX and Tesla are very successful companies.
People don't realize that SpaceX is profitable because it's sending stuff up, like it's using their rockets to send stuff up to the ISS, right? And so
Not really, not the ISS. Only recently the ISS.
yeah.
Only recently the ISS. They made their company just launching satellites.
Oh, satellites too. Yeah. But anyways, but I'm saying, but they're profitable doing that. And eventually, when we figure out how to mine asteroids or even other, like the moon and shit like that, like fuck, man. So imagine having a company that's in place. You know, they've actually, they've been in place for long enough to be the leaders there, to be the front runners. You can have other companies that are going to try and jump into space, but they're late to the party, right?
Once Starship works, that opens up a whole new layer.
Mm-hmm. Well, China's going to mine the moon, so. Sorry, they were tentatively launching verified on Friday next week. Gold check for companies, gray check for government, blue for individuals, celebrity or not, and all verified accounts will be manually authenticated before check activates.
That's pretty interesting.
Painful but necessary. Okay, I mean, is there a charge to it, or is it?
I don't think so. I don't know. I think they might have gotten rid of that.
And what does verified mean? It's just that it's a real account. Is that what he's trying to say? By
No, it means it's you. So if you go on Twitter, you have your
Yeah.
Twitter handle,
Right.
Alex. Verified means that Twitter has manually looked and like look you've verified that it's you with like your ID or
Then why
whatever
the different check colors?
to do delineate now between government individuals and
Well, I
what's the
get
other-
that, but I mean in companies. But
yeah.
I mean, if you're just verifying it, why does it matter if it's different colors?
Because now you know if somebody that's posting something with a verified check mark is doing it like as a government entity or a corporate
Well, I
entity,
guess okay. So if they have
or if it's themselves.
so if they have their own personal account and then they have a government account.
If you're a reporter with the New York Times, you're going to be a company checkmark probably.
I know, but could you have two accounts? Would you have two accounts? Would you have a personal
Maybe,
account?
but might not. I don't think you can have two verified accounts.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So then, what's the point? It doesn't matter if it's verified or not verified.
Because
Who
then,
gives a shit?
well, verified is how people know that you're.
No, I'm
legit.
saying why delineate the difference between if it's verified for the government, verified for this? What's the difference? If you keep that, if I'm using that handle, no matter what, wherever. If it's verified, it's verified. If I'm using it for my own personal shit, but I'm also using it for like government stuff, I could understand if it was like the tweet. So this specific tweet is related to government stuff, and this specific tweet is related to like personal shit. Then you delineate that way. But what's the difference if it's you'd know like okay, so if Donald Trump
now you know that guy that tweeted is associated with the government, and you don't make the mistake that that's an individual who, whether or not they are giving their own opinion or whether or not they're giving the opinion that it benefits.
Okay,
their
so what I'm saying, for
it
example,
doesn't matter.
do we need Biden to have government verified on his account, or do we know that Biden's the president? So what's it matter? Is what I'm saying. If it's
It
verified,
doesn't matter
we know
for
that
Joe Biden, but it matters for Joe Schmo, who you don't know about, who works for the FBI, who might have a verified checkmark because of his connections with the New York Times or whatever, for whatever reason, who might be going on Twitter and he's saying things, but he might be saying things that are effectively propaganda, trying to sway public opinion. That is given weight by the checkmark. So now, if you have sort of separated, now you can see, oh, that guy saying those things is a government entity opposed to
So when you
a
say
private
give him weight
citizen.
by the check mark, does that mean that now that
Yeah,
hold on. Let
when
me
you
ask.
see
Let me
a check
finish the
mark,
question before you jump into what you want to answer. I'm saying if you see the check mark, does that give weight to the tweet or something like that? Is that
yeah,
why
when
it's a
you see
different
a
one?
tweet from a blue check mark, you take it more seriously because it's a verified account.
No, I'm saying, but I get that. But so I understand the difference between verified and not verified. I just don't understand why we're delineating between government, companies, and individuals. If I can have 3 different accounts, then sure, because then you'd look at it and go, okay, that's Alex's personal account that he's tweeting from. Oh, that's Alex's government account. So that's now like he's making a tweet that relates somehow to his position, his governmental position, as opposed to his personal opinion, is what I mean. Like I don't understand what the difference is. So what? Who cares if it's verified government, verified
It's all
company, or
about
verified
transparency.
individual?
That's it.
Yeah, well, I don't.
So you know if a person who's saying something is associated with the government or not, because that's a big part of the problem now. Is you have like propaganda coming out, and you'll have individuals. People have been caught on Twitter, sort of saying things that are like somewhat sketchy or untrue or very like narrative driven, and then you look into their background, and like, oh, that guy works for the CIA or something like that.
Okay.
So I think the whole point of this is now when you see verified accounts saying that, because again, you take a verified account more seriously. That's just how the checkmark system works.
I agree with
Because
that.
it can't just be
I
anybody.
agree with that.
Yeah.
I don't understand the 3 different
Yeah.
verifications.
So now if
why
you
that
work at
matters.
the FBI and you have your great checkmark, people know that you work at the FBI. So you can say whatever you want. It doesn't matter whether you're actually giving your opinion or whether you're spreading propaganda. People, there's no like um, barrier for people to know that, okay, that guy saying those things works for the FBI. Now you know that they're associated with the government.
Wouldn't it be the same if you just had to put like where you work, or like I don't understand what that means. It would be different if it's saying, okay, the gray check now. If you see a gray check, you can trust that one because that's now.
People will say that,
Yeah, but
not
how are they
everybody's
going to
going to
verify
do
that?
it.
How are they
It's
going to verify that?
ultimately up to you. How do you verify it?
How do you verify that is like the government's position on anything? It could be like, so for
It
example,
isn't necessarily the government's
and that's
position.
why I think it's stupid. I think
It's
the
not
3 things are
representing
dumb.
the government. It's that it's a government entity.
Yeah, but that doesn't make any sense to me because it doesn't matter. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't change the narrative of what they're saying or anything. They can say anything they want. Whether it's a blue check or a fucking polka dot check, it could be the same shit. If verified just would mean verified, that's an account, that's that actual person. You know, unless it was like that entity now, when there's a gray check, it means that the government backs that tweet. Or if they looked at it and said, okay, if you have a gray check on it, we're going to boost that one more than we're going to boost the blue one, or something like that. But otherwise, I don't see the point.
I don't understand how, because it makes absolute perfect sense why you might want to separate the
obviously.
celebrities and the
Obviously,
government.
to you.
And
to me, it doesn't. So the way you're making that
makes
statement
very clear sense
to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. To me, it doesn't.
Yeah.
I think it's ridiculous. But all right, cool. I don't think it'll do anything. I don't see
It'll increase transparency on Twitter.
Transparency? How though?
Because now when somebody says something and they have a check mark, you'll know whether it's a corporate entity or a government entity or an individual entity.
Yeah,
Those things matter.
But what if it's somebody that works for somewhere and they're just saying what they want to say?
They can.
Well, how does that make it true? So then the company comes out after. It doesn't
make it true. The check mark isn't about the truthness of the statement. It's about the association of the individual making the statement.
So what?
So like when somebody from China comes in along and talks about how great China is, but they're like pretending to be an American citizen, don't you think it's better if that person is labeled like what they are, I think, on some platforms as a like a CCP member of the CCP?
Why not just say where they're from? Just say their location. What's the difference? I just don't understand what the difference is with this stupid verification. If you're verified, you're verified. If there's no separation between my personal account and my business account on Twitter, what's it matter if I say this is my company account or this is my account and I tweet something? So I go, oh, well, now because it's a company, I'm going to trust that more, like, or I'm going to believe that statement more, or what? I don't understand any of the point of that. Verified, I get it, because you're verifying that's a real account. That's that actual person's account. I get it. This is Elon's actual account. So when he says something on that, I assume it's Elon or one of his lackeys putting something that he either is going to, that's coming from his mouth and they're just writing it, or he's going to back up and say, yeah, no, that was my thought, and they posted that, or it's him direct. That's my point. I just don't understand this whole thing. But okay, cool. Seems gimmicky to me. All right, we see one from the government. Now somebody says something. So Biden says, "Oh, if China invades Taiwan, we're going to back Taiwan." And then later you get a tweet from whatever, from another government entity, goes, no, that's not the government's position on that. Well, what the fuck do I believe? Well, Biden just tweeted something. I would think that it's the government and it's Biden, that would be the tweet. That would be what I would take. So that's what I'm saying. There's no accountability to it. The verified,
it has
I
nothing
understand.
to do with accountability or truthfulness of the statement, or whether or not the opinion is the opinion of
Then what's the point?
government
Then
entity.
what point does it serve?
So you know who's a government entity and who isn't. Right? When somebody goes on Twitter and is saying, Pepsi is a really great product and I love Pepsi.
Right.
They're going to be verified as a corporate thing.
So who
presumably
cares?
so now you know that person saying that stuff is paid by Pepsi to say that stuff.
Well, maybe not. But
to,
maybe not, though. Maybe they're just saying it, is what I'm saying. Maybe that's just their opinion they're posting on there.
It could be.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't verify anything. It could be somebody posting anything. It could be somebody who works for Pepsi, and they're just like, hey.
The ties transparent. They could be truthful, sure. But you can't be entirely certain that a person who works for Pepsi, who is a spokesperson for Pepsi, going on Twitter saying how great Pepsi is being entirely truthful, or whether or not they're saying
yeah. So I don't think it serves any purpose. That's what. So you're making my point for me. I don't think it serves any purpose whatsoever. I understand the verification just for the simple fact of that you want to know it's a real account. That's all. That's the only thing I see any point of. Other than that, it would be like, okay, if there was gray for the government, then you know that is the government's account only, and everything coming out of that account, everything being tweeted out of that is the government's position on something. So you'd use it for something like, let's say they go, okay, COVID vaccine passports are going to be implemented on December 1st. And you know that that's the government's position. So you read that tweet and go, oh, fuck, okay, that's verified from the government account. That's the truth. That's the only way I would see it, a point to it. But you get a government official that says blah, 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 and then somebody comes back and goes, that's not true, or like, it's still the same bullshit to me. I don't see any point of it. That's just my personal opinion. I don't. You haven't swayed me. Maybe I could be swayed later. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something, but I don't see any point to it. Anyways, okay. So we tangented off on a different tangent there, but okay. So where are we going with this?
I don't know.
So we're on a tangent. All right, he's bringing back people. That's cool. With some checks. And hold on. Does he have a blue one?
It's not. It's next Friday.
Oh, okay.
Wait, hold on.
I was going to say. Because then shouldn't he have a gold?
Friday next week. You'll get the king one.
The king one? Is there really a king one?
I don't think so. No, it's just going to be companies, government, and individuals. It all depends on how they implement it, too.
Now,
does Elon Musk get a company one for his SpaceX,
that's what I mean.
or is he an individual?
I think they should have multiple ones. I think you should have, if you work for the government, you shouldn't use that one for your personal tweets. That's just how I feel. But I don't know. I don't use Twitter.
But that's irrelevant. This seems like it would stop, or at least not stop, but it would make it more difficult. Like, you have these, I don't know what the right word, these propaganda campaigns.
Mm-hmm. What's he trying to load?
I'm just trying to get this selector off.
And how does it? He was doing something against retweeting. He was fucking with that somehow.
I didn't hear anything about that.
Where he was because certain things were retweeted a bunch of. I forget. I read this thing on it. I This comes from somebody who doesn't understand Twitter. Like, I've never been on Twitter. I don't really understand it. I understand that you tweet something and then other people will retweet it for you. That's all I get from it. It just seems like, hey, you said something. I think that's cool. I'm just going to retweet it to everybody else. And then it trends and a bunch of people do it and it's moving around like shit. But I heard something about that that there was like certain accounts and stuff that were like, they were pushed essentially. So like they were retweeted a lot no matter what they said. And he was
Right.
going to do something about that, I guess. So it was taking basically the popularism of a statement, of a tweet, and like negating that by just saying, okay, well, this is tweeted from this such and such, and it gets retweeted a shit ton just because CNN, whatever, or whoever tweeted it. You know what I mean? Instead of it being like a popular thing. And there was suppression going on of tweets that were actually being like moved around or like being actually retweeted or something to that effect.
I didn't
That this
hear
was
anything.
this was going on before he was there.
Oh well, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. I'm not
'Cause
saying
there was shadow banning, there was deranking of based
Yeah, or
on
deranking, there's
if
the word.
they decided that you were an individual that they didn't like, then
Yeah.
your tweets wouldn't have the reach.
Right.
Some people you couldn't even find if you searched for them.
Right.
You know, even though
That's
they weren't
exactly right.
banned or anything, people would find that they were forcefully unfollowing people. Like they would log on and notice, oh, I remember, I distinctly know that I was following this account, and now I'm not.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. So yeah, I read something where it was talking about all those different things, saying that he was going to get rid of those right away. So I don't know.
Yeah, and that's
You're
better.
on Twitter now, right?
Not really. No,
Oh, I thought you
I
said
made
you-
a Twitter account for this, but
Oh, okay.
I don't go there.
What's the point?
I avoid
So if
it.
anybody's tweeting us, we're not looking.
No one's tweeting us.
How do you know? You don't go there. We could
There's
have
nothing posted on it.
maybe the nothing has been retweeted a whole ton of times.
Yeah,
Look at Transcend the Monkey isn't tweeting anything.
nothing. This is crazy.
Wow.
They're the only people in the whole world.
What would we get then?
What?
Would we get a gray or would we get a no? Gray is government. Would we get a
No, this
gold
would-
or blue?
Well, this would just be an individual account probably because it's not anything. I don't know if like a podcast account that is like a business would get a corporate thing or company.
Silly.
Um,
Let's segue into the next thing we were talking about. What are we talking about next?
let's talk about octopuses.
Oh yeah, let's talk about octopus.
Are octopuses aliens? What
Octopi.
do you think?
Are they octopi? Is it that's the
This
plural?
article says octopuses,
Pussies?
so I don't know.
Octopussies.
Octopi maybe, but
I think it's octopi
Oct-
is the plural term. I don't know. Octopi. Octopi. There you go. Octopoda.
octopuses is the most common one.
We should ask them because they're aliens.
They are aliens.
Straight up. Octopuses are aliens. Anybody watching? Did you know that octopuses have 9 brains? Count them. 9 brains. 9 brains, 3 hearts. And some of their brains are in their fucking shit. And they're whatever you want to call it. What would you call them?
Yeah, it's
Phalanges? No, I don't know. They're not
they're
phalanges.
called tentacles.
No, aren't the tentacles the sticky looking things or something?
No, those are just suction cups.
Oh, so that's their tentacles?
Those are tentacles.
Okay, so they're tentacles. So they have brains in their tentacles.
Non-centralized brain.
Fucked up is that?
Camouflage abilities.
Oh, the camouflage abilities
And
are
this is flexible
awesome.
bodies, but like they're very
and then what they can do where they take the they make themselves look like something else. They'll make themselves look like a sea snake or something else.
you
They'll-
can change their colors.
Ah, it's fucking crazy. It's not even the
Well, some
colors.
of them, I don't know
Like
that
their
all of them can.
composition. I've seen ones where they actually the thing changes to look like a sea snake. So to thwart off predators.
Yeah.
And then they'll take like pieces of shell and stuff and make like almost like armor for themselves. It's fucking awesome. These things are awesome. They probably can talk. They're probably down there and they
well,
can
no,
talk.
they are for sure.
No, I mean they can probably speak English.
well, but they are actually they do like have language like that. Obviously we can't. It's like dolphins and orcas, but the way that they flash colors, some of them, it shows characteristics. Like we look at that and we're like, okay, this seems to be a language. Like it has the nuances, like almost like grammar or certain aspects of it. It's like, okay, this isn't just like random flashing or signaling. Like it's very complex what they're doing, which is crazy. But yeah,
I'm gonna get one.
so this right here, this is saying the intelligence goes far beyond simply moving through mazes or opening jars. Octopuses are some of the only invertebrates to use tools. They can wield external weapons, such as the way the blanket octopus carries tentacles from the Portuguese man o' war, and they hunt
Collaboratively.
collaboratively is what that's supposed to say.
Yeah.
With other species, sometimes having to give their fish partners a good punch to keep them in line. Yeah, I guess they display a lot of personality. I like this one here, cosmic powers. In addition to their intelligence, personalities, and complex biology, some octopuses seem to exhibit otherworldly powers. Between 2008 and 2010, Paul the Octopus was regularly asked to pick the winners of FIFA games. Out of 14 predictions, Paul was right 12 times. Hollywood likes to jump on board with the space octopus theory as well. Octopus-like aliens have been portrayed in movies such as Arrival and Men in Black. Even the recent documentary My Octopus Teacher draws a comparison between octopuses and the cosmic world. So what I like about this, it's, I mean, there's obviously a lot.
That's funny. Come on. You guys have, okay. So the octopus is watching the soccer games?
No.
It's obviously luck. I know, but it's funny.
Oh, okay, yeah. So an 85%
but
is luck.
But out of 14, it's only out of 14.
Yeah. Well, that's still a lot.
You'd have to get a higher sample size. You know, it's if you told me it was 140, I'd be like, oh fuck, that's fucking crazy. But 14, I can do something 14 times and get bang on 14 times. It would be the odds are pretty low.
Extremely low.
No, not necessarily. Depends
It's
on what it is.
extremely low.
If it's a 50-50, no, it's not extremely low. It's just low. It's not high. So to say that's just too small of a sample size. It's funny. I mean, but I'm not saying that they're not intelligent, but how does it have any, how would it know anything to be able to choose which team? Paul, I mean, like,
You think you're too small?
so what am I, so you're saying that they have some,
I'm saying
telepathic?
there's some kind of field of like conscious or however you would describe it that's bigger than the individuals that beings of a certain level of intelligence can tap into to some extent, and that would explain or might explain like psychic abilities in people, stuff like that. And so when you see an animal maybe tapping into that might be a sign of higher intelligence.
then why do you get two wrong?
Well, he's not going to be right 100% of the time.
Why not? If he's got some kind of psychic ability or something that he can actually,
It's not like a be all end all.
how would that have anything to do with that, with a soccer game? Like, how would that, unless he can see it? I shouldn't say he. I don't know. What are they?
He doesn't have to know anything about.
We're
the
saying
soccer
he.
game. If
We're
his name is
misgendering this
Paul.
thing. Well, that's true. It's Paul.
If you have,
Sorry, that's my middle name, so it's fun.
yeah, if you just have some way of, like, it's the intention.
What would Art say? Go back.
I
don't know if he's
Possum or opossum.
Possum or opossum.
Opossum, I think, is the correct.
It is opossum. Yeah, it's opossum.
Um,
What do you think, Art? What do you think about octopi? Octopuses. Octopuses. I think that's funny to me. That's I don't know why they put that in there. I don't know if it's. It says regularly asked to pick the winners. It was 14 predictions. Regularly, if okay, they did it over a whole season, and it was like 100 predictions, and out of those 100, it got 85.7. Even if they got fucking 65.7 or something, I'd be really impressed. I'd be like, there's something there. Like that's, it should be closer to 50-50. The larger the sample size, it should be closer to 50-50. If if you're going, your odds are 50-50. So it should be closer to 50-50. For it to be 85.7 over a large sample size would be impressive to me. Now, but everything I've seen, that's just a silly sort of thing to me. But everything I've seen of octopuses is fuck ton of crazy. Just the shit they can do. And the fact that I was telling you earlier that they can change their RNA. They can literally change their fucking, what their body is doing, like, on the fly. That's fucked up. Like, and that goes into
Nothing else does that.
but that goes into a whole other weird thing when you're talking about that RNA and shit. What the hell is this vaccine do? Like this is an RNA vaccine,
mRNA.
right? So we're talking about the same kind of shit.
No, it is definitionally gene therapy. The vaccine,
right? And that's what I mean. So like, if you're talking about that, this thing changes its RNA to adapt and do different things on the fly that it needs to do. Why are we fucking with our RNA? To create a spike protein to fuck with
the vaccine advocates would say that it's to boost our ability to produce these spike proteins and naturally.
Yeah. That's what I mean. That's some scary shit to me when you start talking about fucking up stuff like that. When you're talking about the octopus that can do that,
it's part of the transhumanist thing. Trying to sort of move on to the next level.
Here it is. I just figured it out. Maybe the octopuses are somehow... They always say swamp. They always say drain the swamp. Maybe the octopuses are controlling the swamp, and they're controlling our politicians, and they're trying to turn us into octopi.
Could be.
Or octopuses.
Possible. I hope you're ready to become an octopus.
Funny though, because when I was a kid, we used to call people squids as an insult.
Squids,
like you're a fucking squid. You're a fucking squid.
I mean, squids are pretty scary.
So they're 8 arms and tentacles, right? It was kind of like a little thing that went on for a while.
By a squid.
Yeah, you don't want to get grabbed by an octopi. Pussy.
Puss. It would be an octopus.
Or unless he's working with a friend. Unless Paul's working with one of his buddies, Roger or something like that. Roger the octopus.
Yeah, it's the complex hunting too. That's crazy, and nothing else does. Like a lot of stuff that they do, there's nothing else that's doing it.
Yeah, if anybody's watching this,
where did that come from?
Look it up. Look it up what octopuses do, and it'll blow your mind when you see them like creating like armor for themselves out of shells and shit, and they're like, and they're charging around
like the article said, they use weapons.
Yeah,
so it's like
fucking awesome. That's awesome. You have this thing in the water in a whole other environment that would be king if it were bigger and stronger, but it already is a formidable force because of the things it can do, like us. Yeah. No different than us, right? Like we rule this planet. We're not the strongest or the fucking fastest or the best things on this planet. We just happen to figure out
use our environment the best.
We happen to figure out shit, and we communicate very well with each other.
We build bombs,
and we work.
And that makes us more powerful than the chimps.
Yeah. But if you take me and plop me in the Serengeti, and with no vehicle to get away or anywhere to hide, I'm fucked. I'm going to be food pretty quick.
Well, not necessarily. It depends on like where you are, what you have available. But like, people are pretty good
right now.
Like,
just plot me, right? Then I would have to.
But you pretty quickly find like a stick and a rock, which is better than nothing. And that
does that work against a cheetah even?
Probably.
I don't know.
If you had a bunch of rocks, I know one of the old like ancient techniques, not techniques, but like theorized ways that we defended ourselves from big cats was throwing rocks at them. Because then they didn't really know what to do with that. It like freaked them out, so they ran away.
You ever see that video of I think it's a mountain lion or something, where the mountain lion's coming really close to the guy, and the guy's like, he's got a gun. He's like, back away, and he's freaking out, and then he shoots it.
Keeps going close.
Yeah, and he ends up shooting it. He had to, like, he was.
At a certain point, you have to.
Oh fuck! I don't blame the guy at all, man. I was freaked out watching the video. I was like, I felt myself going, oh, like, imagine being in that situation.
Because the thing wants to kill you.
And I would have cried, honestly. After I shot it, I would have cried. Like, I would have bawled my eyes out because I killed this fucking thing, and like, I wouldn't have wanted to at all. And he was like literally like reasoning with the fucking thing to get
I know.
away from him.
And then they just don't. They don't reason back.
Yeah,
They don't give you. They don't haggle.
yeah. It's funny because I'm talking about it. I'm like, oh, it's making me feel sick to talk about it. I
Yeah.
feel sorry for the animal, but
That's
what are you gonna do? I mean, what are you gonna do? But it's no different than if another human is gonna attack you, that you defend yourself. If they died,
You have to.
you would feel. I would hope any normal person would feel an absolute like disgusting
Remorse.
remorse
Or
about
respect
it.
for what just happened. Someone lost their life.
There was a video I just saw of I don't know where it was, somewhere down the states, obviously, where these 4 guys go to try and rob this like like convenience type store or whatever. They all have booze down there or whatever. It's like one of those
Right.
little mini marts, and the guy comes in with an AR-15, and 80-year-old man behind the counter. He saw on the camera they're coming in, so he blasts them with a shotgun and blows the guy's arm fucked right up. You hear the guy goes, "Fucking blew off my arm," basically. Like I guess he got him fairly close range with a shotgun. I'm like, good, fuck you, buddy.
I mean, you deserved it.
Exactly.
Like,
I
if
hope
you
now
ever
you can't use.
deserved that.
Yeah, I hope now you can't use that AR-15, you
Yeah.
fucking piece of shit.
Yeah.
So I don't feel bad at all for that guy. But if you're that guy, if you're the 80-year-old guy who shot the gun, you might have some. I don't know. You might have some remorse, especially if the guy lost his arm or something.
Maybe. I don't know. It's hard. Like, do you feel remorse? Like, when you're in a situation like that, especially due to bad actors, is when it's an unfortunate situation that things get a little dicey. Like a misunderstanding turns
Mhm.
into something. But you got guys walking into your store armed. I don't
Mhm.
know, like how much remorse are you gonna feel, and how much of it is just like unnecessary.
I think the difference is too with humans versus like a human versus an animal, like a human versus a human and human versus an animal. You go, well, that other human is making a conscious decision to do something to me, and I can actually talk to that human and say, hey, please don't do that, and they don't listen. Now,
Yeah,
if I have a fucking mountain lion coming at me, if I say, hey, please don't come closer, that fucking cat doesn't know any difference. It just sees you as food
yeah.
and it
Well,
wants to eat you,
if
or
listen,
whatever, or a plaything, or whatever the fuck its
you
intention
can't
is.
reason. You can reason with a person. You can't
Right.
reason with a cat.
So it's like for you to. So there's
You
there's
can
a
say to a person, "Hey, get back,"
yeah
and then there's a little less on it because they just don't.
yeah.
They keep pressing.
But then the weird thing about it is that we have this heightened sense of morality or remorse for that. That if I killed another human, it means so much
Yeah.
more than if I killed that mountain lion. To me, it kind of doesn't. I know that that's going to be a bit of a controversial thing to say, because if some fucking goof brings a gun into my store, let's say I'm that 80-year-old guy, the way I look at it, I'm like, too bad he didn't shoot better. I wish instead of shooting him in the arm, I wish he got him right in the neck, right in the throat, and killed him. Like fuck him, just
Yeah.
put that fucker down because he's obviously a piece of shit, and we don't need him. But
Yeah,
the animal,
he's only cost. He might hurt somebody else down the line.
Yeah.
So right, you take that guy out, and it's like you just who knows how much harm you just prevented.
now the animal, I
animal
wish he
doesn't
didn't
know.
hit the animal. I wish he'd like
Yeah,
maybe
because there's no communication, and there's
Right.
not. We don't assume complex reasoning,
yeah
right? Like when a human being picks up a gun and goes into a store to try to rob it, that was a process of thought and intent that you could be like, okay, that was reprehensible.
mhm.
That was a bad person doing a bad thing. When a bear mauls a person, you're like, you kind of understand that bear doesn't know what's going on
Mhm.
in terms of like from the person's perspective, and they might just see something they perceive as a threat near their children, and that's what happened, right?
Yeah.
And that's usually what happens, like when mountain lions and stuff get that close to you, they got like babies
It's
somewhere
not,
nearby.
and it's not like they're coming into our backyards. That's very rare where
They usually avoid unless
That's what I
like
mean.
they're starving
like
or
when this
Yeah.
happened, this guy was up in a fucking trail up in the mountain. Like
Yeah.
that's its home. Like,
Yeah.
maybe you didn't know that's where that mountain lion lives
Yeah.
and does some shit. But if you're up there, it's kind of like now you kill it. I'm like, oh, that's sad. I understand because you had to defend yourself, but at the
Yeah.
same time, you were in that fucker. You were in that mountain lion's home now, and now that mountain lion's dead because you decided you wanted to have a little country fucking walk in his home or her home or its home. I don't know. I don't want to misgender the.
It's worse than the.
Is it a cisgendered mountain lion? That's the question.
Who knows? No one asked it before it was killed.
Yeah, exactly. But to bring back to the octopuses, maybe the octopus actually came to this planet at some point. Maybe they literally came as they are.
Planet.
Yeah, maybe they're alien to this planet where they're actual literally aliens.
Maybe, I don't know.
Not implanted by aliens or like brought here somehow, or like, you know what I mean, or developed somehow from alien DNA or anything like that. Maybe they're actual aliens.
Maybe they crashed here.
Yeah.
They had spaceships like an old.
And now they can't build them again.
Well,
Maybe they come from a water planet.
well, no, that wouldn't work.
Why not? Well,
'Cause if they
octopuses
were on
can't breathe out of water, right?
If it, I don't know if they breathe underwater.
Check
I
it.
think
Check if they
might.
no out of water. They breathe underwater, obviously.
Well,
out of
not
water.
obviously.
Yeah, they live underwater.
Yeah, so do dolphins.
But you can't leave a dolphin out of water too long. It needs to go back in the
No,
water.
because it'll get dehydrated, but it breathes air.
I didn't know that. I
Did
thought
you know dolphins breathe air?
I thought they just
That's what's the
basically
hole
held.
on the top.
I thought they basically just.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, I guess.
octopus have gills. Say all the whales and all the sea mammals breathe air.
They
So,
cannot
like,
breathe air, but
you can
for
keep a
short
dolphin
periods.
out of water if you keep
Keep wetting
keep
it.
water around it. Yeah, like you keep spraying it.
It's like
or
a whale.
something.
Whale has the same.
It'll get dehydrated really fast if you don't, and that'll kill it. But it breathes the air. Yeah, so they have gills.
I thought they just honestly. I thought it was like they just kind of stored air
Here's the
or like almost like held their breath type thing.
These octopus, they can survive out of water by like you just said, storing water.
In their mantle. Okay.
So they can, like, I guess, grab a bunch of water and then go up on land. So I don't know. Maybe they did develop a advanced civilization somewhere where they built spaceships, and they came here in the spaceships and crashed in the ocean, where they were able to survive. They're alive. It'd be like human beings crashing their spaceship on a jungle world or whatever with a good enough atmosphere. It's like, okay, well, we're fucked, because none of the individuals know how to build up to a spaceship from anything. It's like neither of us could build a computer or an iPhone or really much of anything.
Exactly.
So the output, now they're stuck. They're underwater, so the thing is just going to get eaten away much faster than it would on land. So they might have some technology that they can use or whatever, and then they just they were stuck here and they just kept going. And that's where octopus came from. And that's how they got here now. And
maybe
they have to figure it out.
Just had a new thought. Maybe they actually developed on like asteroids or comets. And then when one crashes on Earth, bam, there's your octopus.
I'd probably kill.
So it's by an accident. What's that?
I'd probably kill anything unless there was like
unless it went right into the water, right?
It's gonna explode before it hits the water.
Would it?
Yeah, they always do. Unless it's like huge, but then you're talking
through.
about a massive.
You mean it doesn't get through
explosion.
our atmosphere? You mean?
Well, it gets through, but it explodes.
How
so
so?
like the Tunguska thing.
The what?
The Tunguska thing that blew up like 100-mile radius. It was a asteroid.
No, actually, I don't.
You don't know that?
No.
You don't really?
Not by the name anyway. Maybe maybe I know of it and just not by the name. Tunguska event.
Have you not seen these images?
Oh, up in Russia. Yeah. I know of it. I just didn't know what it was called.
12 megaton explosion. It just didn't happen over like a populated area. Like windows were broken nearby, but no one really got hurt.
Yeah, I knew of this. I just didn't know the name.
Yeah. Like, so anything that comes into our atmosphere, it's either so small that it completely burns up before it hits the ground, or it like explodes at some point.
But why does it explode?
Because of the heat and the pressure, and like as it's coming in and it's flying really fast and the higher density, eventually the thing just breaks apart. Probably because it's really, really hot.
What if it's water though? What if it starts to break apart but it hits water?
Well, it's gonna that's the explosion. It's gonna break apart.
Yeah.
But I think anything.
Octopus is pretty small though. What if it's living in the middle of it?
Well, that's the thing. It'd be broken apart. It'd be stupid hot. It'd have to be like some kind of I don't know, maybe like a bacterial life that was like poised to evolve in that direction or something
I don't know.
that
Man.
like made it through.
Maybe
It's
they're
like,
smart enough to use them as like little armored capsules.
well, they could slow it down if they were smart enough to like get on an asteroid and slow it down, but then that'd just be a spaceship. Really. At that point, it's just a spaceship.
I don't know, man. I just think they're wild. I had no idea that they were that wild. 9 brains. I knew they had 3 hearts. I didn't know they had 9 brains.
Yeah, they're weird. They don't really fit in. They could be like another
And
idea
when,
is
like I
that
told you,
they're
oh god,
well, another idea is that they're down a line of because everyone always says that there's like one evolutionary path for all life on Earth, like
Yeah.
one starting point,
Mhm.
and we don't know if it happened anywhere else or if it like happened and failed a bunch of times. Maybe the octopuses come from another one of those.
So we made them?
No,
Like we genetically made them or something?
no,
Or you just mean like another evolutionary sort of
from zero to life,
Mhm.
from zero to octopus,
Mhm.
the same way we have from zero to everything else on Earth, because
Yeah.
everything else on Earth can be traced back
Mhm.
to the same point.
But why so weird then comparatively? Like I told you,
Well, that would explain why it would be why it might be weird. It was a whole completely different evolutionary path, sort of
so
separate.
nothing else from that evolutionary path is here, you mean?
That would be the idea, or it's like really deep in the ocean
Because there's
opposed
like
to at the
nothing
surface.
else that we know of.
Yeah,
on this
because
planet.
everything. Well, I mean, the octopus might fit into this, but everything on Earth has the same track. Like you trace it all back to the same point where it all started out as like one thing.
Hmm.
Eventually, it was like everything on Earth was just like 2 cells or something.
An amoeba or something, a one-cell
Yeah,
organism or something.
and that's why like giraffes and giraffes have like the same kind of um, uh, nervous system sort of wiring as like a fish does.
Mm.
Like it's all the same because it all starts from the same point and it's all built off the same system, and then
Right.
it goes in all these different directions. So maybe octopuses are a different starting point to
And
get to the
everything
octopus.
everything else was extinct, and they were the only thing left, and then everything built up from like the amoeba.
Oh, it could
and
just
shit.
been 2 independent things happening at once, or it happened at a different. Maybe there was a different one at like the bottom of the ocean
Mm.
or something like that. I don't know. And maybe if we can actually get down there, we might find things that are more like the octopus
Mhm.
than we think. Yeah,
Or they're
but
just controlling everything from the ocean.
the octopuses are the lizard people.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So they actually made us.
That's
They
maybe.
fucked with chimps
They
and made
could've.
us.
They could have. They fucked with the chimps, and now we got people.
Well, I like octopuses. They're one of
They're
my
pretty
new
cool.
favorites now.
They're interesting.
All right. I think that's a good time to end it on the crazy octopus that might be aliens. Well, actually, sorry. They are aliens. They're very different than anything on this planet. So they basically are alien to this
Yeah.
planet. But are
Doesn't
they
make any sense. Actually, another explanation could be if whatever the octopus goes back to got like separated at some point, like trapped in like an underwater cave or something, and
Mhm.
evolved in a completely different way because it was like this isolated environment for a billion years or something,
Yeah.
and then maybe that's how it got so different. But it's
You should
really
watch
weird.
that Ancient Aliens thing that I told you about, and it was talking about
I should watch a lot more Ancient Aliens.
and it's talking about different hieroglyphs, and not necessarily hieroglyphs, but like stone etchings and stuff, because hieroglyphs refer to Egypt.
The Egyptian,
But
writing.
yeah, but stone carvings and stuff
yeah.
of octopus, and like where they've actually
Where?
got I forget where it was saying. I didn't really but it's on this episode of Ancient Aliens. So you need to check it out. It was kind of cool. We were showing that. It was like, all right, well, there's a little bit more to this. And then that's where they were explaining that it was humans have 25,000 gene strands or something in our DNA, and
Yeah.
octopus have 50,000,
Yeah.
and they can change their RNA and all this different
Yeah.
fucking crazy shit. That's fucked up.
Yeah.
So like, and it also said if we weren't on this planet anymore, the dominant species might be the octopus. Like people tend to think, oh, maybe that chimpanzees might be, or I forget what the other. There was another some other. They said that they might kind of rise without us being
Chimps?
around. Well, chimpanzees is one of the.
But
sort of
chimps are rising.
That's what I mean.
Like, they're
But
getting smarter.
getting us out of the way because they
Yeah.
use tools and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But they're talking. This thing
Using
was
them more
talking
and
about
more.
octopuses being that because they're so highly intelligent
Yeah.
and adaptable that they could end up being the ones that rise up to sort of the apex predator
Yeah.
or whatever you call us. I think apex predator is kind of a
We're
stupid
different.
thing because we don't hunt and kill everything
We
on the
don't
planet.
predate
Yeah,
so much.
yeah, exactly.
Omnivores. We're more.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's not like we're going down into the
We're
water.
just
and
more
shooting and
masters of
killing
the
things.
environment.
Exactly. Yeah,
So, more so, and then that maybe fucks with other shit.
we act more
But
like a virus. We really
yeah,
do with the planet because we're trying to be part of the planet, and we're using it and we're taking everything we can from it, but we're trying to keep the ecosystem as unaffected as we can, but do what we want to do.
yeah,
And we you know inadvertently are killing things off. Like there's species going
Yeah.
extinct every damn day. So we're inadvertently doing this, and we don't mean to do it, but we're doing it because we act like a virus.
yeah. I don't know. I don't necessarily know that virus is the right word though, because I think that there's. I don't necessarily subscribe to this, but I'm intrigued by the idea that there's like a higher consciousness, and you can think of the Earth as a single conscious being like Gaia,
Mhm.
and that humans have we exist for a purpose, and that purpose is to maybe extend that consciousness because it's all connected. It's all one thing. So like
Mhm.
Gaia encompasses all life on Earth, not just like as a separate entity as like some people conceptualize God.
Mhm.
It would be like the Earth consciousness, and human beings are an aspect of that is a deliberate attempt to get off the planet because of through experience the innate risk of like something hitting the earth and just wiping everything out, because obviously that's possible. So it's almost like maybe there's at a higher level a deliberate attempt to get off, and that's what human beings are, and that's why like we need to do all this to get to that point, right? We need to be industrial
Mhm.
in order to build spaceships, and that might be the point. And maybe we'll be able to do that. We'll be able to go and fuck off and live somewhere else, and kind of maybe cap the population of the earth, be like, maybe only 500,000 people can be on the earth at any given time, and then there's like earth 2 or 3 that we fucking set up and
Mhm.
split the colonies up that way.
It does seem it's sort of counter to the idea of the way we are as far as a species, that we don't typically like to put all our eggs in one basket. You know what I mean? We like to have these kind of
Mhm.
safety hatches, if you will. So the Earth is basically one basket. And when we
When
weren't
we're
advanced enough,
fixated, we are obsessed with the stars.
well, and that's what I mean. But
Sky.
when we weren't advanced enough, we had no chance of getting off this planet, right? There's just nothing we could do. We're fuck it. This is the basket we're in. If an asteroid or meteorite hits us, okay, that's a case sera. But we're getting to the point now where we're like, hey, we're close. We're close to being able to get off this planet in a pinch. If we absolutely
maybe-
had to,
and that's
we
the thing.
probably could.
Maybe that's on purpose,
Yeah,
right? Because when was the last like significant extinction impact? It would have been
the
60
Younger
million
Dryas.
years ago. No, that wasn't this. No, because humans survived that. That was only like
That's true.
10,000 years ago. That was end of end.
No, but they think that there might have been a massive
Yeah, yeah.
reset. Yeah.
Well, yeah, a massive reset to civilization,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like a whole bunch of megafauna went
But you mean a
extinct.
mega
We're talking
extinction
about
effect?
like most like 60 million, like the dinosaur
The
thing,
dinosaur 65 million.
right?
years
So
ago.
maybe human beings are effectively a 65 million year project to claw in a direction that would eventually get consciousness or Gaia off of this isolated location.
Mhm.
Maybe that's why that's sort of why we're fixated on the stars the way that we are, and maybe that's why we're so industrial.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what makes us that way, but there's definitely something. There's like a driving thing in us.
There is something that pushes us, right?
Yeah.
It almost feels external,
Mhm.
you know.
Like even the most settled people, the most
Well, like look at
simple
Elon
people.
Musk.
Yeah, even the most simple type people still have a drive to do something. There's a something to them
But
that
look at Elon Musk.
yeah.
What motivates him? Like He has
He's
everything.
he's
He
just
had
but he's
everything.
hyper. He's hyper that way. Like
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
the
But there are a
rest of
lot of
us are.
people. There are a lot of people like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
There are a
it's-
lot of people that make $100 million and say, you know what, I'm just gonna live on the
Well,
beach.
okay, but
But
there are people like us that would be hyper in that way too, but we're not. We don't have the right um the other thing that makes him able to win at the game, right? Like he's whether you call it like sort of luck, maybe with PayPal, he gets in the right time and he starts
no, it's
it,
hard to
and
call that luck because it was very like yeah, maybe the timing, but it was a very useful
oh, I
technology.
know, but there is a certain sense of there is a certain aspect of luck to these kinds of
Well, yeah,
things
being born at that
because
time
it
and
could be like
having the resources that you
because you look
had
at
to
even like Tesla, Nikola Tesla, right?
yeah,
Had he had the kind of funding
a little bit of business sense.
and business sense and stuff, like had he been more like Elon, who knows what the fuck that guy would have come up with? But he was eccentric and he couldn't.
I
I
mean,
mean,
he
look what
might
he
have come up with stuff like
look what he did
what
with Westinghouse. Like
yeah.
he would have if he didn't make that decision with Westinghouse, he would have been the richest man on the planet by a long shot, right? He would have had zero problems. He would have been able to do some of the shit that he wanted to do, but he makes this crazy poor decision to
Mhm.
get into a bad deal with Westinghouse, and then they own the
But it's really interesting. Why is like all of Tesla's work hidden, missing, gone?
Hmm, yeah.
Someone has it because some people had like. I think you were gone when I was listening to this when we were working on our last one of our last jobs. Uh, I was listening to one of the Mysterious Universe episodes, and they were talking about Tesla, and they were talking about this guy that through like his family or something had found like what he didn't know who Tesla was, and he thought that he kind of found like I don't know if it was described as like journal entries, but it was like diagrams and of like technologies. And he thought it was like some science fiction thing, right? So, like a science fiction writer. He didn't know who Nikola Tesla was, even though it was signed as Nikola Tesla. He had no idea who that was. It was like in the 70s or something when this stuff wasn't as commonly known. And this guy describes that like he had this and he found it and he thought it was interesting. At first he thought it was just some science fiction, but then he found out that it was real like scientists basically. And he because he only had a portion, so he wanted to see if anybody else had the rest, had found the rest, because he just kind of happenstance found it. It might have been like a bin that was at his like grandparents' house when he passed or something that he was rifling through. And he didn't really get any responses from anybody. I think by the time he was doing this, it was the early, like when he found it, it was like the 70s or 80s, but then it was like the 90s. But so the internet was around, so he was posting about it, asking if anybody had found anything. And he didn't really get any responses, but eventually some strange people showed up asking him about it.
Mhm.
They wanted it from him. They wanted to buy it, I think. And then he was reluctant to give it away because by now he was starting to realize kind of how important it was. So he didn't necessarily want to give it away or even sell it. But they kind of it was a weird exchange, is what he described. By the time they had left, it was all gone. They had gotten it, and they had wiped
Yeah,
everything that he had put on his computer about it. So
yeah.
it's like, why does there seem to be a very deliberate attempt to hide Tesla's work? Why did it go? Why did it disappear? Because we know it was there. We know he
Yeah.
was working on stuff. He had stuff. It's gone now,
Money.
right? But that implies like what did he have?
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
Oh yeah, I honestly think he probably I mean, wireless power, if he could have made that actually a thing. I mean, let's be real. Westinghouse at the time stood to lose a ton of money. And over, over the years, obviously the same, right? Nobody stood to win from that. So I think anybody, I not to be a conspiracy theorist on this kind of stuff. I think maybe the cure for cancer has been found a few times. I think somebody is sort of like almost like a backyard physicist or not physicist, biologist has sort of come up with it maybe at some point, and it's been hidden. There's no money in the cure.
there are
There's only
weird
money in
things.
treatment, right?
Cancer, I almost understand because people talk about like a cure for cancer. Like, like cancer isn't the same as other
No, I
species,
get it, of
right?
course,
So
because
it
your
makes
body
sense that
mutates
it would
and
be extremely difficult to like cure it,
yeah.
right? Because of the way that it works and how it can come from
But
so
we're
many
still
different
using
directions.
chemotherapy. We're
Well,
still
yes,
freezing our fucking
that,
bodies.
but also
Crazy to me.
there are very interesting studies about THC that showed. I remember looking at this a long time ago, but it showed that in mice, THC certain types of cancer, so it's not like
Yeah.
cancer in general, because it made some of them worse, but certain types of cancer, it effectively halted the growth of the tumor.
Hmm.
It just like stopped it from spreading. It just stopped it in its tracks. And it's like, okay, that's really interesting. So if you think that like, and that's just like one thing, right? That's THC. Like maybe there are a whole bunch of chemicals that we could create that could be tailored to an individual circumstance, to a type of cancer or
Hmm.
to a certain body that would have that effect. Like, oh, you got cancer, okay, you take this pill, and as long as you take this pill, it's not
Well,
gonna,
that I could see because you can make money with
or
that.
it fixes it because
Well,
there.
I don't think the fix. You
Well,
know what I
there's
mean?
a
Like,
possibility for a fix when you look at the anti-aging research.
well, the reason why I don't think it fix is because how do you monetize that?
Well, you can't monetize.
That's what I
No, no,
mean.
no, no. Yeah, I'm not. I'm not talking about
So that's why I
selling.
think if
I'm
there
just saying, though,
was,
I think it's possible.
oh no, I agree with you. I think it is possible.
Yeah,
I think it's not only possible. I think it's highly possible that it has been developed. That
yeah,
something in that
maybe.
realm has been developed, but nobody's going to release it because there's no money in it. And if, okay, for example, if you're the type of person that you're not, you know, like completely ethically driven, you're doing this, you're like a researcher or something like that, and you find, say, let's just use this, this simple term for it, the cure for cancer, right?
Yeah.
No, is there now? Are you just going to be like, oh, hey, I got the cure for cancer, and I'm going to go, or do you bring it to somebody and say, hey, I'm pretty sure I figured out the cure for cancer. And then they test it some more, and go, this looks like it
I think there
probably is.
have
And they
been.
say, hey, you know what? Let's bring it to Pfizer.
Yeah,
And Pfizer goes, oh, it looks like you got something here. We'll give you $100 million. We'll give you $1 billion. Okay? We want the rights to that.
there are
They take it,
examples of that.
NDA is signed, bang, they own it now, and they put it in the
Or if they
drawer.
don't sell, they disappear.
That's what I mean. They
That's
just put it in a
happened.
drawer and they
There
go,
are no,
yeah.
not the thing, the people.
Oh, or the people, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that happens as much.
No, but
I think it's
there
more
are
people just get paid
examples where
off.
that seems that, yeah,
Yeah.
because most people are going to take the
Yeah,
money,
yeah.
especially when it's
If they
life-changing
don't
money.
take the money, it's like, all right, now you're
But like
dead.
there was, there's a lot of weird stuff. Like a guy, I don't remember the detail. I think it was like a car that ran on water or something. That just disappeared.
Mhm.
Like that's supposed to work. That just disappeared. There was a guy who had apparently some really interesting stuff in the anti-gravity field that the government came and looked at, and the government like refused to buy it or give funding to the research or something, which was weird because like it worked and they seemed very interested, but it's like there's just a lot of weird stuff that has gone on around individuals and certain proposed technologies that people claim to have created, where it's like they either disappear or all of a sudden like they disappear in a sense that they no longer have a public,
Yeah,
they're not doing interviews, they're not talking about it
right.
anymore.
Yeah, and I
Or
mean,
someone
there's
buys
a
it.
certain level of that it's going to be hoaxes and grandstanding and all that, and it's just
Yeah.
completely blatantly untrue. But I'm sure there's stuff that's actually legit, and it's disappearing. And so I don't know, man. I'm a cynical type of person. I'll call myself a realist. If I look at everything in the scope of how can someone monetize it. Because
Mhm.
yeah, there are some people. I shouldn't say there might be. There are some people out there that are morally driven and just want a better society. And so if they come up with something, they're like, "Hey, you know what? I want to put this out there because just I want people to be better." Like, for example, the seatbelt. The seatbelt. I forget Volvo. It might have been Volvo or something. Developed the seatbelt, and they didn't. So they gave the technology away. to everyone because they wanted
Yeah, they
they
want people to use it.
they wanted people to use it to
Yeah.
save lives rather than patent it and say, okay, only Volvos are
Yeah.
going to use it. So if you use it, you have to pay us. They just gave it away.
Yeah,
That's a fucking amazing thing to do because seatbelts are proven to save lives. They give you some bruises and shit, but they save your fucking life.
yeah,
People were going through windshields and through the front of their car a lot before
Yeah.
seatbelts. And the first seatbelts, some of the first seatbelts were crazy. They were going like across someone's neck and shit. It's fucking crazy, some of the seatbelt designs.
Yeah.
But anyways, so there's an example of a company doing something that was ethically correct, but not monetarily correct, right? You know what I mean? So I think that exists, but I typically will lean on the idea that most people and most entities are looking at how do they enrich themselves, and they don't give a fuck about society. You know, so it's like
Yeah.
if you were to find the cure for cancer, for example, and Pfizer came to you and said, "Hey, here's $100 million,"
I would
Shut the
be
fuck
willing
up.
to bet too, based on some of the stories that go around, that there are certain people who get approached and they're told, "Hey, look, we're going to give you $500 million. You're going to give us the rights to your shit. You're going to shut the fuck up, and you're going to disappear in the public eye."
Yeah, or we'll kill
And-
you.
Yeah, exactly.
They'll fucking kill
Exactly.
you.
No, they're telling them
Yeah.
this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Either way, you're going to disappear. How do you want it to go?
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
And what do you do in that
Exactly.
situation? Right? Like
Don't
an
shit on
entity
them.
much more powerful
Yeah.
than you is.
I don't shit on them at all, man. I'll be
Yeah.
straight with you.
Totally
I'll be
empathetic.
completely honest with you.
Especially with vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
If they have kids and stuff.
If I fucking I stumbled on something like that, and somebody came to me and said, "Hey, here's $500 million. You just fuck off. Don't say anything about it anymore." Like you don't have to literally fuck off, but you say a word about it, we're gonna kill you. I'm like, I'm not saying a fucking word. Like I'd laugh and be like, "Oh, you probably offered a little too much. I would have done it for $100 million." Like,
Yeah.
but thanks, cool. I'll take your $500 million.
You shouldn't have said that. Not
Right.
when you come up with your idea. They know.
Yeah,
your
they're gonna
number.
come back
They
and be
know
like,
your number.
$100 million. No, I mean $500 million. That's
I
what I mean.
mean, I want 500 billion.
The way I look at it is
Bitcoins.
it's awful, and I've had family that died of cancer. It's to speak specifically of cancer. It's awful and everything, but we need to die.
That's a part of it.
We need to die. Yeah,
That's a part
there's
of
no
the
fucking. There's
experience.
nothing to this if we didn't die. What are you gonna do? Like who's getting off their fucking ass to do anything? You wouldn't have any meaning. You just be like, man, give a fuck. I'll eat whatever the fuck I want. Who cares? Like it. You know, it all has a meaning to it. So like, it has to have an end. If it doesn't have an end, or at least, you know, I'd be for an end to this and a beginning to another thing. Like, so for example, like Neuralink or what's the other one where it talks about taking your mind essentially and putting it into a computer or something. Like, okay, I mean, I could do that for a while, but I'd want to be able to hit the escape button, get the fuck out.
Yeah, I think there's more going
Yeah.
on. Like
Yeah.
I think we're doing this on purpose.
Yeah.
You know, to kind of forget like the grand picture and to have experiences.
So it's almost like, so what you're saying is almost like when we die, we go back to where we're actually from.
Almost like your body's an avatar. Like so, like
Yeah.
in Rick and Morty, the game Roy.
Oh, I don't really. I've watched Rick and Morty, but I don't
Oh
know.
well, there's a game called Roy that Morty plays. He puts on the headset, and then all of a sudden he's this guy Roy is you play out this life. This guy Roy in however like 15 minutes or whatever. Yeah, but it's an entire lifetime that you play out, and you're completely immersed. Like you forget all about your original. So when he ends the game, he falls out of the game, and Morty's like, "Wait, I'm
Yes.
Morty. You're Rick.
Yeah.
We're here." Right? He has to remember what was happening before the game.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what's going on. Like
You should have
happening
watched
here.
Star Trek, especially the Next Generation. There's an episode where Picard, where they happen on a probe, like a satellite probe or whatever, and it probes Picard, the captain, right? And so he comes to, and he's he's on a planet living a life, right? But when he comes to, he's still him. So he's aware of him
Yeah.
as the captain and stuff. Everybody's living this life on this planet. And then over the lifetime, his lifetime that he lives through this probe, whatever, he has to forget the fact that he's Picard and become this other person. Like he's living literally
Yeah.
like 60 years, but it happens in 27 minutes. So when he comes to, he has all the memories of living the life from this pro. It's fucking cool. It's a really cool episode. So he can do different things too. He can play like this little instrument and stuff that he learned when he was living this
Yeah.
other life. But it's like it was this, and the whole premise of it is this alien race that was going extinct. Something was happening on their planet, some kind of event, which is he's living through as well. This like I don't call it a meteor or something going to hit the planet or whatever. And their only way to keep themselves, like to let anyone know that they ever existed, is to create this probe and have others experience. And so, like at the end of his life, when he's like 80 or whatever, living on this planet, there's a launch happening, and it's this probe being launched. It's a really fucking cool episode. Like
Yeah.
the whole show was fucking cool.
Things like
But
that.
you'd really like it just because it kind of hits a lot of things on it. But it sort of it touches that thing from Rick and Morty. But yeah, I mean, who knows? Like we're looking at existence and life on this planet in a very linear sense. Like we see it from our eyes and try and grasp what's going on. But it could be something as simple as, like you just said, we're essentially avatars living a physical world, like living in a physical world, a physical life to experience it, because that's not normally what we experience. So it's like a sort of a,
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe
there's something about being here that's enjoyable or fun or that we want. That's why we do it. Or maybe it's just about um just traversing levels.
yeah. What if it's a punishment?
Maybe it could be a prison.
Like a prison.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you do something in the thing and now fuck you. You're
Yeah.
human.
I thought about this. So what if AI exists? It was created. It was created like a million years ago by human beings, and it is so intelligent and powerful that it figured out how to control like space and time entirely in its entirely. Like maybe it has control over like 7 dimensions. And so what it did to keep human beings out of its way is it trapped us in a time loop.
Yeah.
And we've just been stuck here where we live our life, we die, we go back to the start. We live our life and we die. And it's the same 100 years or so period, time span,
That's crazy.
over and over again.
That's crazy.
Because we've
like
been
the
trapped.
Matrix.
We've been trapped here
Kind of like the Matrix.
by an AI that's now in the real world, kind of, or not, because this would still be the real world, but it's like controlled by time. So in like the outside of this, they're like the AI is out doing its own thing without human interference.
Already says, I'm also certain cures like that have been suppressed as well. Not just the monetization of drugs and is in the best interests of pharma, but think of the research positions that are funded. Exactly. Nobody's making any money.
Yep.
So if you suddenly now you've got, whatever it is, $500 million a year being thrown at cancer research. It's probably more than that. I'm probably way the fuck off, but whatever. Let's say you got $500 million being thrown at cancer research. Suddenly those researchers don't have anything to do anymore.
Yeah.
Like that's, so there's a lot of things. Unfortunately, we don't look at the big picture of anything. We just look at our small picture and we say, how is this going to affect me negatively or positively?
I think that's why psychedelics are so important, because they like expand that perception. It adds more to it. So it's like, okay,
it's true.
Right. So like you're here,
You feel more connected to everything and everyone.
Yeah. But whether or not it's true that you feel that you are connected, that expansion, that vector of experience widens your ability to conceive of things in a way that is useful, regardless of any. I think it's probably real, but regardless of any reality, it's useful.
Yeah.
But we're also at an hour and 35 minutes.
Let's end it there. We could just talk about this shit all night. That's the problem with us. We get in these these whatever you want to call type of conversations.
Existential
exactly.
conversations about what the hell is reality and what's going on.
Maybe we'll do a whole podcast on that for everyone's delight.
Yeah. We'll get a few concepts together. We'll do it a little bit better, a little bit more research, get like some more thought out theories to discuss, or mix it with stories. Do a real Mysterious Universe style where there's like some stories to back up the general theory or something, if we can pull that together. But
Yeah, for sure. Well, hey, thanks for being with us. Like, subscribe, share, do whatever you gotta do. You're gonna do all
Tell
the
all your
things.
friends.
Do all
Do
the
all the
things
things.
you're supposed to do when you like something.
Yeah.
You share it, and you fucking, I don't know. You want more of it.
Yeah. Exactly.
We should just keep threatening. We're gonna. That's good. I guess this is gonna be our last podcast. If you don't
If you
start
don't
liking and sharing
share,
us,
like, and
I guess we're just
subscribe.
gonna go.
Yeah.
We're
We're not going
still
anywhere.
gonna be here.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Enjoy the rest of your Friday nights.